Welcome, everybody, to the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group, WinSIG, for Sunday, February 12th, 2023. My name is Drew King, and I'm going to be sitting in for Hewie today, who has other obligations. And what we'll do is start with the news. And what we're going to be covering for items on February 12th today is posted on the Hewie.net WinSIG website, and I'll be going through them tab by tab in the browser. And what we're going to do is start with Windows 11's new updates, 5 PC features that you can try. The first one I have personally used myself. It's a program called Clipchamp. You can use it on Windows 10 also through the Microsoft Store. They have a free version and a paid version, and it is both a video capture utility and a video editor. So you can give that a try as something that you can use rather than installing a paid version of software. And that's included with Windows 11 22 H2, or you can get it from the Microsoft Store. The next big thing that everybody has been talking about is tabs in File Explorer. I've been waiting for them for a long time, and they're finally here. And you can open up a notepad and have multiple instances open at the same time. So if I were to click on the little plus sign here, I can open up a new tab and then navigate and flip between my picture folder and my home folder. Very handy to have. The one feature that's missing that I've been waiting for is persistent tabs, the ability to open your File Explorer and return to the windows where you were before. Hopefully that will be something that might come at some point. Another nice feature is the snap bar. This is very useful if you have a big monitor and you can split your screen into multiple chunks. If you push an application towards the top of your screen, and I'll see if I can do this here, it brings up a little window. If you push an app up to the top of your screen, it gives you the opportunity to put that item in different places on your screen. If you want to be in 2 pieces or you want to have 4 windows open, you can choose where you want your app to be. And this particular one happens to be an application called Notepads, which is a tabbed notepad player. This is also available in the App Store, the Microsoft Store. It's called Notepads with an S on the end, and you can have multiple notepads open at the same time. The next one up, the revamped notepad. Their notepad, the Microsoft notepad, comes with a new dark mode and light mode that matches your system settings. That is available now as well. Hopefully, I don't know if they will put tabs in there as well, but we'll see.
Tabs are available if you're a tester.
If you're a tester, okay. Oh, wonderful. And if you're impatient like I am, you can load notepads from the Microsoft Store. The next topic will be God mode on Windows 11. And when I first read this, I thought to myself, maybe we shouldn't be teaching God mode on Windows 11 at a meeting. But it's really not as bad as it sounds. It basically gives you quick and easy access to features in Windows that might be difficult for you to find in the settings and the control panel. And what you do is you go to your desktop and create a new folder, and you cut and paste this line into the clipboard. And then if I were to minimize this, I've already done this before the meeting. If you create a new folder on your desktop and you paste that in there, this should open up. And it's not. Oh, We have a problem. It didn't open. And
Maybe acting up with Zoom.
yeah, something's not going right. I don't have control over my desktop right now.
When you pasted that link into that new desktop icon, did you make sure that you didn't add anything before or after? Because if you do, it won't work. You have to be very precise and only copy the actual instructions posted.
You didn't copy the full tab.
Well, that was a folder that I had pre-created already, so I didn't actually do the copy and paste just now, but we'll try it again. Maybe that folder is just not a good folder. If I go to new and folder
I thought it was new and shortcut, but go ahead.
and hit V, and that should create the new folder. I did this once already. Yeah, it went back to this very same folder. And when I try and open it, now it seems to be working.
Which means
It takes a little. So now, once you have it up and running, you have all kinds of settings that you can change inside Windows. Sometimes people are wondering, how do I get autoplay to stop playing videos, or I do want it to auto open my USB flash drive. Those settings you can change right here. If you would like to make a backup of your recovery key this is normally stored in the control panel. This can be in there as well, and you can scroll through these and just open up your device manager. You can even search this folder for entries that you might want to be interested in configuring. So I don't know if it's really God mode is the right way, but it is kind of a techie way to access some of the settings you have in the control panel and in settings. So you can take a peek at that. And now we'll go back here, and that is God mode. Now, does anybody have any questions related to the topic so far, or no? If you do have a question, raise your hand.
And I'll keep my eye on chat as well.
And our next topic is some fixes that came to Windows 10. If you have Windows 10, you just want to make sure that you have loaded the latest updates. And this article doesn't have anything more than that, just the fact that these are fixes. And let's go up here. I've been scrolling through these. Sorry about that. Things that are features that are ancient that you can still find in Windows. The command prompt. Most of us on our WinSIG probably are familiar with Windows to remember the command prompt. You can type in cmd.exe in the run box and open up a command prompt, or you can put it on your start menu. And I also have the PowerShell on the start menu as well. Good convenient place to put them. The run dialog box is also people not familiar with much anymore. If you hit the Windows key and the letter R, it opens up the run box and you can type commands in. If you have Microsoft PowerToys installed, you can press the Alt key in the spacebar and open up a run box right in the middle of your screen. Disk Manager. Most people today have not been doing much work with adding disks to their computers because people come with big computers today with big disk drives. So not a lot of people even know that the disk management tool exists anymore. But if you do want to look at your partition, it still is there, and you can look at things on your disk. The control panel. Microsoft has been trying to kill the control panel for years. and they're slowly moving settings from the control panel to the application just called settings. But there are certain features that you need to change that are only available in the control panel. So you'd like to be able to know how to go back into that by just launching the control panel, typing in control panel in the search box. Disk cleanup is something that with large hard drives, people have been tending to ignore. And you can get rid of temporary files that may be piling up on your disk or empty the recycling bin. The last time I ran disk cleanup for my machine here, I had 32 gigabytes of files in my trash. That just because the disk drive is so big, Windows didn't clean it out. So you want to make sure that if you throw something away, you can periodically go into the recycling bin and make sure it is thrown away. And disk cleanup is a good way to clean out some of your temporary files. The character map I haven't used in a really long time. I had forgot that it existed. But if you need to put special characters into a document, this is an option for you to try. And File Explorer. It is, I don't know what why they would say this is something that you have forgotten about, but it is an important feature. And that basically covers this tab. And Microsoft, this is something that those of us who run primarily on laptops don't have enough space, but Microsoft is testing a split screen feature for the Edge browser so that you can actually have two browser windows open or multiple browser windows open. And this is a little rotating example of what it looks like so that you can have side-by-side windows for your browser. The Windows 10 preview update released with 14 fixes. You want to make sure that if you if you have a computer that's running Windows 10, make sure that it's not still running Windows 10 21H1, which mine was until fairly recently. Microsoft didn't push 22H2 to my machine until recently. But you can go into you want to go into Windows Update and verify that you have all of these updates loaded. And what's new? One thing that Microsoft has introduced is OneDrive storage alerts. I've noticed this popping up on my computer because I have limited space on my OneDrive. They're giving you the ability to be notified about your storage limits inside File Explorer. And we have how to create a restore point in Windows 11. We're going to go into the reader view. This is something that I do and I encourage everybody to do regularly, especially before you install a piece of software. This has saved my behind quite a number of times. If you create a restore point, and you can do that simply by clicking on the search bar and typing in RES, and you'll see create a restore point pop up on the menu. And it's very simple to use. If it's not on, you do need to enable it. And just click on create and give it a friendly name that represents that you're creating a restore point prior to installing software X or a game or whatever. And if something goes wrong with that installation, you can revert your computer back to the previous restore point. And it will eliminate that software install. It'll eliminate any registry changes that were made, any files that were put on your computer that are part of Windows, and very valuable tool to use that's part of Windows. So if you're going to be installing a new piece of software or changing a system setting, be sure to create a restore point before, and you can do this in Windows 10 as well. Restore points are part of both Windows 10 and Windows 11. this is just a picture of how to go ahead and do that. And you can enable system restore by clicking on the Windows S key, Windows logo, and the letter S. And it just brings up the menu, and then you just type in restore point. And that's about it for this, I imagine. How to use restore point to restore your Windows 11 system. Yes. If you go into the restore point area, there is an option called system restore up here. And if you click on system restore, it will look at your settings and tell you and make a recommendation to which restore point you should go back to. I'm not going to go any further on this. I could go one step further, but I'm not going to do that during the meeting. But this should, on the next step, present you with a list of your available restore points. If you have not created one, you might not have one available that is valid. So be sure when you're doing any work on your computer, even if it's something simple, create a restore point. It can be a useful recovery tool. How to easily record your screen and camera for free with Clipchamp. Clipchamp is a multi-function product and can do record videos, and you can record a portion of your screen, or you can record the whole screen. And you can make videos that you put up on YouTube, and it can be a fun thing for people to do for free without having to buy a piece of video editing software. You can capture your screen and then capture your microphone, your webcam, and make your own videos. And then you can share those videos with your friends up on YouTube. And this article covers basically how to edit your recorded videos and everything. It's really simple. It's a nice application. It's not a professional grade application. If you're really serious about making YouTube videos, you might want to consider another product. One product that I use personally to create screen recordings is a product called OBS Studio. And that's a free tool that runs on all platforms, Windows, Mac, and Linux. And you can screen record without any limitations. Clipchamp has a free version and also a paid version. If you go with OBS Studio, it's completely free and has more features than Clipchamp does. Although this is a nice free tool that comes with Windows that you don't have to bother installing any third-party tools. Just get it from the Microsoft Store if you're on Windows 10, or if you have Windows 11 now, it should be on your computer. Microsoft has brought the Windows 11 Media Player to Windows 10. This is something that is a very nice feature. I like to use the Media Player more than the Groove music player that was with Windows 10. So this is something that you can load on your computer and use the Windows 11 Media Player on Windows 10. I'm running on Windows 11 right now, so I can just show you the same media player that's on Windows 11. Going to new Microsoft 365 basic tier includes 100 gigs of cloud storage. This is a nice thing to go with for a couple of bucks. I have been for a while paying the $2 a month just to get the 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. Now I don't use the Microsoft Outlook mail very much, but I now have, and you will have for $2, ad-free Outlook and a little bit of help, and you get 100 gigs of storage. So if you don't want to start off paying the $8 or $9 or $10 for Microsoft 365, they now have an interim product that you can choose for just $2, which is nice. They give you 100 gigabytes that they share between your photos, your file storage, and your email attachments. And you'll get a little bit of Microsoft technical support along with that as well. Microsoft keeps bugging people about getting up off their old versions of Microsoft Office and loading new ones. I have a valid license myself of Windows Office 2010 that I can no longer use because I can't install it. The activation service for Microsoft Office 2010 doesn't exist anymore. And when you go into Windows Office 2010, it basically says we need to activate you, but we don't have an activation service. So thank you for go buy a new product. Even though the Office 2010 I have on my other machine works perfectly fine, I can't use it. I can't install it anymore. Microsoft is getting very aggressive about making sure that you are buying their new subscription service. So this is rolling out automatically to everybody's computer. So make sure that you have a supported version of Office on your computer. Microsoft has begun force upgrading Windows 11 21H2 devices to 22H2. I don't see a reason to not let it do it. Windows 22H2 is perfectly fine, and you should be on Windows 22H2 if you're not already. So you should go into Windows Update, and you can quickly go in and just type in the word about on your computer and about your PC, and it will tell you what version of Windows you're running. And I have Windows 11 Home 22H2. And it has on computer block updates. Yeah, you might have you might run into an update problem based on this compatibility issue. I haven't seen that happen personally on any of my customers' machines, but you do want to be on 22H2 today if you're not already. And our favorite topic, not being able to hear the dialogue properly on a TV. Lots of people are complaining today about not being able to hear the dialogue on their new flat screen TV, or sometimes you have two people that have different listening level preferences, and one person wants the volume up louder and one person wants it lower. You can adjust the settings on your TV, often using your streaming or TV or streaming stick. I'm sorry. What I do, and a lot of people do, is buy a soundbar and add a soundbar to your computer, to your TV. That will increase the volume level. Another thing that I do as well is headphones. You can, most smart TVs today support Bluetooth, and you can have, say, two people in the room. My TV supports up to two headsets, and you can have two people in the room wearing headsets. Say you're getting ready for bed and you don't want the TV volume up real loud. You can put on a Bluetooth headset and adjust the volume independently between the two people that are watching TV. One can have it off, one can have it high. That's a nice feature that people can take advantage of today. The Amazon Fire Stick that also supports multiple Bluetooth headsets at the same time. So if you have one person in the room that might be a little hard of hearing, you have a problem with the headsets because it's going to turn the main volume off. So everybody watching is going to have to be wearing a headset. But if you don't want to fight over volume control, you can have Bluetooth headsets on. And what a lot of people, this is a big bulky pair of headsets. Today, there are a new form of headset that's not technically new, but they're called bone conduction headphones. They're what I use. They enable you to listen to the person that you're in the room with at the same time that you can hear your TV. So you might want to check those out. And how to take a screenshot on a PC. We're going to go into the reader view, and the Windows key and the print screen key, the Windows and print screen to capture your entire screen. I use that a lot during Zoom meetings to capture a screenshot of the Zoom screen of someone's doing a presentation and they're showing a Zoom slide, a PowerPoint slide. You can press the Windows key and print screen together to get a capture of your screen. And these are alternate options for taking a screenshot of your screen. And you can put that screen capture into Microsoft Paint and manipulate it, or you can and then save it as a to your screenshots. The Windows snipping tool is another option. You can activate the Windows snipping tool by just typing in snip in the search box, or what I do most often is just press the menu key, Shift and S, and that will also let you grab a screen capture of your screen. Third-party programs, I've never seen WinSnap before. I don't know what that does. But the built-in screen capture utility, I think, is fine for most everybody. And this one, my apologies for not being at the top of the screen. Turn off these default Windows settings to streamline your PC. If you have Windows 10, Cortana, Microsoft has not using Cortana anymore, but your computer might still have it enabled. You might want to disable things like the keylogger and Cortana, and free up some space on your bar and some of your computer system resources. You can go in and adjust the printer, and also turn off your fax service if you're not using a fax service, and check to see if you still have Internet Explorer on your computer. Internet Explorer you don't want on your machine anymore. You can get rid of it. Microsoft Edge has long since replaced Internet Explorer, and some people may still have an old copy of this web browser sitting on their computer. Start menu ads, that's another thing that Microsoft is starting to put advertising everywhere. They're going to be advertising enabled everywhere in Windows 11 going forward. You can go into personalization and adjust some of these settings. Disabling programs at startup. If you go into the start menu and open settings and select apps and startup, let's go ahead and do that. And if I just go into startup settings, you can adjust in here, change the, where are we? Show recently opened. Oh, what did I do wrong?
You chose the settings instead of the apps. Just repeat.
Oh, settings, select apps, and then startup, right? Thank you. Apps. All right, now we go into startup. And this is all of the applications that are starting automatically on your computer. And you can go and disable things that you don't use. For example, I have Cortana disabled in the startup, so it doesn't come up anymore. You might want to get rid of things that you don't use. Sometimes you install a piece of software that will auto start itself and you don't need it to. So you can go into your computer and turn off some of the things that might be slowing your computer down, especially when it boots. Microsoft has started including Spotify. I did not install Spotify on my computer myself. Microsoft did it. That's something that comes with Windows 11 that you might want to make sure is not enabled. So go into apps and startup and get rid of anything or disable anything that you don't use. Remote desktop services. This is, for the most part, should be disabled by default. In Windows 11, if you do need remote support, it's available for you, but I would keep it toggled off for most of the time. The touch keyboard and handwriting panel. If you happen to have the type of computer that is a 2-in-1 or a tablet, you might want the touch keyboard and handwriting services available to you. But if you have a desktop computer, you don't need them starting all the time. And let's go to a UPS. I love talking about UPSs because in Florida, where we have a lot of electricity and power, lightning, I protect not just my computer, but also you might want to think about today, especially with streaming, putting a UPS in for your TV and your router. A lot of times, if you're watching a streaming service like YouTube and you get a little brownout, your router will reset, and now you can't stream TV for another 3 or 4 minutes until your system resets. One of the benefits of having a UPS with a battery backup on your router is a quick little brownout won't reset your router so that you don't lose your internet connection and your streaming service on your TV. So your movie won't be interrupted. Continuity, data loss, hardware protection are all wonderful things that UPSs have done for years. So consider having one of these in your house, at least for your expensive equipment that you use. If you have a desktop computer that doesn't have a battery like a laptop, you put one of these in, and if you have a little brownout or a power surge, your computer won't forcibly reboot itself all of a sudden. Good thing to have, and they're not that expensive. Another thing that some of these have the ability to do is have charge your cell phone. You can, in a power failure, this is a nice big bulky battery. And when we had our hurricane in Florida, I made sure that I had my UPS batteries fully charged. So if need be, you could charge your laptop or your tablet or your phone off of your UPS battery. Nice big battery. And that's another thing that you can use your UPS for, is recharging your accessories. And the rest of this article covers how a UPS works. I am not an electrical engineer, so I'm not going to even try and explain how all of this technology works, but you can read about it in the offline and standby. All of this stuff here you can read about on the website. But I highly recommend having a UPS for your desktop computer and also for your internet and TV. Mistakes that people make while browsing the web. Most of us spend a lot of time on the internet. And if you're going to dedicate that much time, you want to take advantage of things. Don't be like them, and avoid all of these mistakes while browsing, and disregard browser updates. Browser updates are things that are important for people that live on the internet today. Make sure that if your browser says we have an update, load the update. And keep your system from getting hacked. Allowing cookies from everywhere. You've probably heard about cookies. A lot of people are getting annoyed by cookies and want to turn them off. You do want to allow some cookies because servers require cookies to work. However, what you can do is block cookies that you don't want. You can block cookies in incognito mode, open up a special browser window. Most browsers today, if you go into their menu, have the ability to open a private window. And if you're going to a website that you may not want to have write cookies to your computer permanently, one of the things that I do sometimes is open a private window, and then you can accept all the cookies you want and then throw the private window away. Another thing about cookies is if you happen to be using the Brave browser like I do, you can disable those persistent cookie banners that pop up on the bottom of your screen that sometimes will say, we use cookies, press OK. And you can suppress those now using the Brave browser in the settings for the browser. There's another browser add-in called uBlock Origin that also has the ability to block those nasty little banners that pop up on the bottom of your page and say, we use cookies. Well, thank you, but we don't need them. We don't need you reminding us. It won't happen to me mindset. Antivirus software and scams and eBay and fake reviews and things, all of that happens. You want to make sure that you're careful that sometimes it will happen to you. I recently received an email about owing PayPal money. And I said to myself, geez, I didn't recently buy anything from PayPal. What you do is don't click on the hyperlinks and just go to PayPal directly by typing it into your browser URL. And it turned out that PayPal reminded me that I donated some money to an organization and a nonprofit organization. And I did that through PayPal, and that's what the money was. It was actually a real bill that I have to pay. Cluttering up space with tabs. Open it now, read it later. I can show you that myself. I have multiple browser windows open. I've got 95 tabs open so far. I'm guilty of cluttering my space with tabs. You don't want to try and keep track of that. Now, third-party plugins are available. I use a tool that helps. It's called Workana, WORKONA, and I use it to control all of my tab windows. And it hides all of the inactive tabs and allows you to only see in memory the tabs that you're using. And you can sort of put other tabs in to sleep, and it won't use up your Windows memory. Another thing is plugins. You can go crazy loading plugins, and then you have 5 plugins, 10 plugins. If you're not going to use a plugin anymore, get rid of it and free up your system resources. And another thing is not using a VPN on a public Wi-Fi. I personally subscribe to a VPN. I use actually what I think is the one that they have in the picture here, a product called NordVPN. Anytime I'm on a public network, I protect myself with a VPN. And using the same passwords without two-factor authentication. Weak passwords are a prominent problem, and you want to set up an authenticator app. And this is something that I ran into this weekend that I discovered that I'd like to just mention a quick thing about is when you set up your authenticator app with two-factor authentication, a lot of times you'll go to the website and they will pop up this box. And it looks just like this, and it'll have a QR code or a can't scan it option. And what I did initially was, when I set up my Google Authenticator, was I scanned the QR code. Then you close the window and the QR code is gone forever. Your phone is now your single source of generating those two-factor authentication codes. If you lose your phone, or it breaks, or anything happens, or the app goes bad and crashes and doesn't work, you lose your authenticator app. You lose the ability to log into websites that have two-factor authentication. If you click on the can't scan it button, you will get a 16-digit number that you can store permanently someplace safe, so that if anything happens to your Google Authenticator app, you can recreate your Google Authenticator app using those numbers. So put those someplace safe. Remember, I don't trust printing these out and then being able to scan them again. But if you press on the can't scan it option, they'll present you with a number that you can record and put someplace safely, so that in the event that you don't have your two-factor authentication device handy, you can recreate it on a new device. That's something that more and more people are moving towards two-factor authentication. You don't want to get locked out of your bank. And being able to have a backup plan in place for your two-factor authentication is important. If somebody were to get a hold of my password database, say from a password breach at a server, they still can't get into, like for example, I use it on Amazon, and the two-factor authentication with Amazon lets you have your password and also a second option that can be either a QR code with the Google Authenticator app or a text message. Amazon lets you have the Authenticator app as option 1 and SMS as option 2. If you only have a cell phone, you don't have both option 1 and option 2 are typically on the same device. Another reason to keep a backup copy of that code. So if you don't have your device, you can recreate it. Never ever click on links and ads and emails and things. Avoid getting spam and phishing attacks and all those nasty things by avoiding clicking on links for advertising and in emails. If you get a website that you're a little bit suspicious of in your email, just open up a browser window instead and type the link in yourself. And if it's to eBay and you know that you want to go there, type eBay in yourself or type Bank of America in yourself, rather than responding to an email that you click on and it takes you someplace that you don't want to go. Using credit cards on dodgy websites. That's something that you definitely want to avoid. Credit cards make online shopping convenient. However, you don't want to punch them into suspicious websites. So that's why you want to always make sure that the website that you're going to is authentic. Okay, and moving along. Selecting text with your mouse the wrong way. Selecting text is a common thing that everybody does. Click and drag your mouse, and what you're doing wrong. First, let's look at the way that most people select text on their Windows, Mac, and Linux. You might position the cursor at the beginning of the text, hold the mouse button down, and drag the cursor to the end, and then release the button. This works fine, but there can be a problem. When you're selecting text letter by letter, it's easier to accidentally or only highlight part of a word. You might not have the cursor exactly right. The better method is to prepare to have your mind blown. Instead of a single click and drag, try doing a double click and keep holding the mouse after that second click and drag that way. And you will highlight words rather than letter by letter. the double click is selects the full word that you have under the cursor. So if I were to try this, it double click and then you double click the word and then you just hold it, and you can select word by word rather than character by character. If you do character by character, you might not get everything that you're typing. If you double click, you get the word. If you double click and hold, it does whole words only. So when you're selecting a hyperlink or selecting a paragraph or a phrase, you get the whole word in and not part of it. Not everyone prefers to use a mouse for text selection, so don't worry about it. There are keyboard shortcuts for selecting text. You can hold down the Shift and Control and press the left or right arrow keys. So those are different options that you can do for selecting text. And consumer alerts, come on.
Quick question or comment?
Yes, yes.
Just if you go back to that previous tab,
Mm-hmm.
I have for years not only double clicked to select a word, but I triple click to get a sentence or paragraph. And I'm
Oh,
surprised they don't triple click on that.
you're right.
So
I just learned something today.
well, I'm surprised they didn't include that in this comment here, because the triple click is something I've used. I love being able to do that because I'm always copying and pasting from one place to another, and it really has helped. So the double click and then the triple click for a sentence or paragraph.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for teaching that to us today.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All right. Let's don't answer quizzes online. Let's put this into the reader view. I went back into my password manager recently and looked at how many passwords I created where I had the make and model of my first car or the high school that I attended. You may end up getting a quiz online that asks you these questions, and then they may have the ability to get into your systems by learning all of the secret questions that you used to create an account online. So one thing that is good to do is just stay clear of online quizzes to help protect yourself from fraud. And how to reload tabs when your browser unexpectedly quits. This is one that I added at the end. This will be the last one that we cover, I believe. How to reload your tabs when your browser quits. If you, there is a command on the Mac called Command-Shift-T, and on the PC, Control-Shift-T. And what you want to do is in Chrome and Edge or Safari, and you can do it in Firefox, is they don't have the directions on Firefox here. Go into Settings, and on Startup, set it to continue where you left off, rather than start with a new window. And this will let your browser remember where you were, so that when you restart the browser after a crash, you can press Control-Shift-T on Windows and restore all of your windows. It's a very nice thing to have. And I think this is one that I just threw on the end, how to quickly close your web browser. If you are, press Alt F4, I'm not going to do it right now, but you can quickly close your web browser and shut it down. If you're about to, you think you might be getting a virus or something, you just went to a website that's suspicious, if you can remember Alt F4, it instantly closes whatever the active window is on your computer. And that's about it. Next tab is just browser backgrounds that I put in. So does anybody have any questions at all about the news?
Let's go back to the main screen and ask people that want to ask questions to put their hands up. If you'll stop sharing your screen. Drew.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And we've got a bunch of questions there for you to call on people.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, on the double click that you just gave, where you double click and hold the mouse button down,
Mm-hmm.
and then you pick a word at a time. And then the other person, I don't know who that was, but they talked about the triple click.
That was me.
Well, if you do the triple click and hold your mouse button down, you'll do a paragraph at a time. So you won't have to drag slowly through them. So if you hold your mouse button down on that third click, that'll do a paragraph at a time as well. So just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah, I've never
Great.
had to hold down the mouse. I just triple click and then right click to copy.
Yeah.
It selects the paragraph or the sentence.
Well, if you wanted several paragraphs, that'll do it. That's all.
Okay, great. And Jolene?
Yeah, just real quick, could you put that LifeWire quickly closing whatever that was? Could you put that link in the chat for us, please?
Oh,
last
how to
minute.
quickly close tabs in your browser?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Stephanie.
I was a little confused about 365 and your discussion of the extra. It sounded like maybe you could spend $2 a month instead of a year's fee to get 365. That didn't.
Well,
make sense to
it's
me.
not they charge you up front for a whole year. So you pay $24 up front, and then you'll have 1 year of the basic Office 365. You don't have the full Office 365 with all of the software that comes with Office. You have the online version.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Steve?
Yeah, I had a question about one of the utilities that was in the newsletter from last month in January. There was one of the entries on there, I think was the top 9 utilities or something like that. Number 7 out of those 9 was one called Snappy Driver. And it looks to be a pretty useful utility. What it does is it goes through your hardware on your computer and then finds the optimal drivers for it. I had 4 pieces of hardware come up that I think were part of Bluetooth, and it didn't have any drivers for it, and it couldn't find any drivers. But then when I click on the thing, it says it's running. So how does it run without a driver? And how do I get these drivers that it doesn't have?
Can anybody answer that question?
I'm thinking it's just using generic Windows drivers.
Best I can offer is if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
Drivers are one of those things that you can wind up messing up your entire system if you have the wrong driver. So if it's not broke and there isn't some kind of a notice of a security breach, if it's working fine, leave it alone.
Yeah, but
Eventually-
are you likely to have some hardware that isn't working at all because it doesn't have the driver for it?
Well, you
Is
would
that
know that
possible
if it
with the
doesn't
phone?
work, then you go looking for a driver. But as long as things are working,
Yeah, well, it's pretty much what I did. We just don't leave it as it was, but.
Well, Windows 11 does updates drivers for my audio card in here. And every time I get an update, it wipes out my audio. I get no audio, no anything. But after I get the update, they send me an update 2 or 3 days later, and I've got everything works fine. That's Windows 11 Pro.
Yeah.
Well, that Snappy driver did actually come up with the Bluetooth driver and what was the other one? The Wi-Fi card because they're both on the same card in the computer, and it found updates for those. And since I ran those, they work a lot better than what was in there to begin with. It fixed a lot of problems.
Mm. Okay. And Mike?
Are you're using a lot of Windows 11 stuff? Are you using it on a true Windows 11 computer, or are you using one of the temporary fixes that which I'm using? How safe am I to continue to use an older computer that doesn't have all the security hardware?
If Microsoft brings up an update that will check and then block you, that'll be the end of your Windows 11. Realize that Windows 10 will work perfectly fine and fully update through October of 2025. There is no rush to go to Windows 11. If you've got a machine that's capable of running it, enjoy it. If you don't, stay with Windows 10.
I've already moved to Windows 11 on several machines. Is there an easy migration path back, or is it total?
No, there's no way of going back. You got 10 days once you upgrade to Windows 11. If you don't do anything within 10 days, then you're stuck on Windows 11. And if you're running a machine that doesn't really qualify for Windows 11, there's no guarantee that you can't one day wind up not being able to boot your system. I know, I've been there. I've done that.
Okay, so you're saying not the. Okay, can you then reinstall Windows 10 from scratch?
Yeah, that you can always do.
Could you make an image copy of Windows 10 and save it?
Yes, but if you're already on Windows 11, there's no way to make a copy or an image of 10.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Dave?
Yeah, Drew, I wanted to mention, as far as being able to listen to TV, if you have hearing aids that are Bluetooth compatible with a Bluetooth television, I listen to TV right through my hearing aids. No headset needed.
Yes. Yes, that is another option that I'm not ready for yet, thankfully. But yes, it's easy. Bluetooth is available now on a lot of hearing aids, and smart TVs most often come with good Bluetooth support.
TV ears is another good one. You go on to TV ears and they have different things for different TVs.
If you happen to have a TV that's older and doesn't have Bluetooth, one thing you can do, specifically for streaming, is use a device like a Fire Stick, which will add Bluetooth support for that. And Norbert?
There's also, Colleen Garrison had asked in the chat how to raise her hand, but I don't think she's been able to figure it out. She may have a question.
Can you hear me? Can you hear?
A little garbled.
Bob is muted.
Can you hear
Bob,
better
you're muted.
now? Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you. Do you have a question?
Yeah, if you can hear me. We were talking about emails and so on, and I wanted to know if you could help me out. It's a little sidetracked, but still. I bought or was given by AT&T a watch that has everything, email, the whole shebang, internet, everything. And they gave me 2 in one box. And I left it at a place where I was getting fingerprinted for state ID. When I went back in there, it was nowhere to be found. The girl obviously took it who did the fingerprinting. My question is, can she go in there, even though if I cancel that watch because it had everything on there, she could go in there and snoop on anything, right? That's pre-existing?
Anybody have an answer? Norbert, you're
Yeah, Bob G, you're.
What
you-
was the software that was used for
It
third-party
all came
support?
from it all came from my Samsung, it's a Samsung. And it all came from my Samsung, the emails, all of my phone numbers, everything. But I told them to try to block it, but I don't know if they can. And I'm just wondering what happens, if you buy these watches that have everything on them and then you misplace it, are you pretty much vulnerable, right?
As far
You
as
know what I'm talking about? Those watches that have everything on it?
as far as I understand, the watch has to be connected to the phone that you have.
Right.
So if if that watch can't connect to your phone because she doesn't have your phone, also I would definitely have you talked to Samsung?
Well, I went to AT&T, but
Have you talked to Samsung?
everything, it's like a mini it's a mini
I know
computer.
what the watches
Is
are.
that-
Yes, I do that. I understand.
Oh, okay.
I would also talk to if you've registered the watch at Samsung, they should be able to help you reset it or brick it.
I think that's a better idea because AT&T is getting me nowhere. I think that's a good idea to go to
Their
manufacturer.
job is to sell and
Yeah.
give some support, but I would go to Samsung directly for that support.
Thank you.
As
I would
John,
go change all my passwords immediately.
Yes, that too. I was going to say that.
as
Thank you.
Jolin said, your watch pairs to your phone. If they don't have the phone, because that's where your information is, it's not on the watch. Your phone communicates with your watch your watch communicates with your phone, and your phone is the storage place for all that information that it has access to. Once you take the phone away, it doesn't have access anymore. Someone else
So they
without
don't-
your phone doesn't have access to your information.
Mhm.
So in other words, they cannot take what was left on the watch at the time.
There's
And
nothing
get
on the
screwed.
watch.
That's
There's nothing
correct,
on the
Bob.
watch.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The watch is only a mechanism from obtaining information that's stored on your phone. Without the
I
phone,
get it.
it's dumb. That's
Thank
why you
you.
need that app, okay?
Thank
Yep.
you.
Mhm.
Yep. And next, I just wanted to answer, David had a question about Norton VPN versus NordVPN. One of the reasons that I would stay away from Norton VPN is simply because it's not an all-encompassing multi-platform VPN. A product like Nord will run on, like, for example, one subscription fee. I have the ability to protect my cell phone, my tablet, which are Android, but also Windows and my Fire Stick and Linux and all of my computers. So if you buy Norton VPN, it may be a Windows only product, or less. No,
Nope, multi-platform.
it is multi. Okay.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? Everything is quiet.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I sent Bob an email with my email address directly to him. Now, how can he see that, or how can I get an answer back from him on the meeting chat? Is that how it works? I don't know how.
Send me an email direct, bob3160@gmail.com.
Bob G, what's it, please, again?
Bob3160
3160.
@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
All right. So we are at 2:34.
All right, if we are finished with this meeting, I will stop recording. Any last questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to stop recording.
Yeah, I have a question.
all right.
Diana
All right.
has her question.
Yep, we have two questions. All right, go ahead.
What is that 3160@gmail? What is that?
That's
Somebody
Rewind.
asked me for my email address. I was giving him my email address. And
Oh,
you only
okay.
got part of it.
Okay.
Diane has her hand up.
Okay.
I have a question. Drew, you mentioned Workana. Am I
Yeah.
pronouncing it right?
Yes.
I use that too, and I love it, but I have some difficulty in understanding it. Might be a good idea for a class or a tutorial on that sometime.
I can definitely plan on doing that at one of the future Sunday meetings. Do a little 5 or 10 minute overview.
Yeah, I'm like you. I have tabs open, and if people don't know what it is, and then you can go in there. Sometimes you have a hard time finding restore items. You know, if you shut down or you have an update, that's another reason you lose all your tabs. And I've opened that Workana, and I like it. The free lets you have 5 folders or something like that, but it works, you know, and you can keep your tabs open.
Yes, it's very good. And especially one of the things that's nice about Workana and the workspaces is you can take tabs in Windows and put them into those 5 free spaces that you get, and then resume on a different machine and
Right,
access
and
all. Yeah.
I was doing that too. I ran into some issues. I kept getting hidden. Of course, I don't want to pursue it. We don't know what other people don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, I would like that as a segment sometime, and other people might like it too.
Drew,
Thank
you
you.
had talked about 100 and some odd tabs open in Google or in Chrome. The next update will wind up putting all those tabs that you don't actively use to sleep, so that you don't wind up having a system you can't use because all those tabs are using up resources. That's coming
Oh,
down the
well,
pike.
Oh,
that's
okay.
right too.
Okay, when you
Yeah.
go back into one of those inactive, it will take a split second for it to regenerate itself. But in essence, it is gone. It is not
Right.
using resources anymore,
Okay.
which is great for those of us that always like to have a whole bunch of tabs open.
Yes.
Does
and
that make a difference? Since we're talking about that, does that make a difference? You know how you can have virtual desktops, different desktops? Does that make your resources any better? You know, if you have so many tabs open on one desktop, and then desktop 1, desktop 2, desktop 3.
Well, those are desktops. Those are not tabs in a browser.
Are you
Right. I
talking
was
about?
just thinking, yeah, that make a difference on what you put up there? Or they, you know, would that help your resources? Probably
Well,
not.
probably not. If you have 2 virtual you're talking about virtual desktops or?
Yes, like one virtual desktop, you'd have so many tabs open on a subject, and then the other virtual desktop, you'd have tabs open on another subject.
Right. You can do that, but they're both coming out of your same pool of memory.
Right,
Um,
That's what I
what-
thought. Okay.
What Workana can do, and it'll work across any browser, Firefox, Chrome, Brave, anything, is it puts all of your active windows your inactive windows to sleep.
Right. Okay. And that's coming to Chrome too as a feature,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording, so hang on, folks.